Hi there. Can I help you with anything?
Oh, hi. I'm interested in the possibility of a career with TGS when I graduate. So I thought I'd come here and see if there are any opportunities suitable for people like me.
Okay. I'll take a few details from you and then we can contact you when we start our recruitment program.
Oh, great.
So, if you were to work with us, what area would you want to focus on?
I'm hoping to make a career in the field of marketing. I'm quite an outgoing person.
Okay, I'll just feed that into the computer. And what's your name?
It's Dominika Alexandrovna.
Okay, can you just spell your surname for me?
Sure, it's Alexandrovna.
Thanks. It's important to spell names correctly in business.
Yeah.
And where are you from, Dominika?
Well, I was born in Poland, actually, and my mom's Polish, but I'm Russian, because we moved to Moscow when I was very small for my father's job.
Well, I must say your English is very good.
Thanks. I've been here a couple of years now.
Okay, well, we usually get in touch with students a bit later on, and the easiest way for us to communicate with you is by email.
Oh, yes. I can give you my email address.
Fine, then we can send you any links that you need to read and attach the application forms.
Oh, great. Well, my email address is dom54 at qmail.com.
Right. Thanks. As you know, we like to encourage young people to start working for us as soon as they graduate.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, our interest is related to the class of degree that you get.
Well, I'm hoping to get a 2-1. My tutors are all pretty confident that I will.
That's good. So, which university are you studying at?
I'm just finishing my course at London University.
And I assume you're in the School of Business.
Yes, I've been doing a BA.
And is that part-time?
No, I'm a full-time student. I haven't actually had any experience of business yet. I want to concentrate on getting my qualifications first.
Okay. How have you found the course?
Oh, it's been really good. I've really improved my communication skills, and I've learned how to work in a team as well.
Well, that's good if you want to work in a global company. So, when do you finish?
Well, it's a 22-month course, and I finish in 2 weeks' time.
I see. So, when would you be available for an interview?
Well, I think the 21st of July. I'm taking a holiday on the 12th of July for a week, and I'd need a couple of days to sort myself out after that.
We're obviously interested in your business qualifications, but it also helps if you've anything in your spare time that shows you have some business-related skills.
Well, I did run a competition last year for the charity Save the Children.
That's just the sort of thing I mean. Shows you have some management skills. Right, and apart from work and study, what do you like to do in your free time?
I'm quite good at cooking. I make sure I eat well. You know, when you're a student, it's easy to forget to eat or to eat a lot of junk food. I do things like watch some of the cookery programs on TV, and then I copy them.
Great.
I'm not very sporty, but I do go swimming at least twice a week. I like to keep in shape.
Have you done any other work in the past that would be relevant to a marketing career?
I did help my father with his business, but it wasn't really a job. I didn't get paid. But I have been a children's tutor. I got that job through my homestay.
That's good. So if you worked for us, how would you see your career developing?
What do you mean?
Well, are you ambitious? Do you want to get to the top?
I guess I'd like to get into management. You know, I'd like to work my way up the ladder and end up as a project manager.
Well, that's about all I need to ask you for now. I'll let you walk around and look at some of our displays.
Thanks.
Can I just ask how you first heard about the fair?
Oh, from a friend. She told me about it last week, and then I looked it up on the internet.
Okay. Thanks.
you will hear someone talking about a colour exhibition.
Now, I'd like to welcome onto our show today Darren Whitlock, who's going to tell us about a very vibrant exhibition.
Thanks, Melanie. Yes, in fact, it's an exhibition called Eye for Colour. It's packed with hands-on exhibits and interactive displays, and it explores the endless ways in which colour shapes our world. Now, there are 40 exhibits altogether that come under 6 main sections. Sadly, I haven't got time to tell you about them all today, so let me just give you a taste offer. So, to start off, there's a section simply entitled Seeing Colour, which is, well, as the title suggests, about how we do just that. And it's a good starting point, because basically you look at the museum gallery through a giant eyeball that's standing on a circular foot. What you don't know is that this houses a 32-inch camera and screen, and the overall effect of these is quite amazing. Another section that's very interesting is called Colour in Culture. Here, there are activities designed to illustrate the powerful links that exist between colour and certain aspects of our lifestyle, and this is done through a range of images and objects. You can visit the Colour Cafe that contains meals that really make you question how conditioned you are. How hungry do you feel if you're faced with a plate of pink and green fried eggs and blue sausages, for example? This section also includes activities that give visitors some idea of what it's like to view the world with a visual disability, which is something that many have to do. Then there's a Colour in Nature section, designed to illustrate the many amazing colours that we see everywhere around us, from rainbows to autumn leaves, and to give us an idea of what it's like surviving in the external environment. So, you can try camouflaging yourself. This really is one for the kids, dressing up in a suit and then selecting a background where, to all intents and purposes, you disappear. And you can look at the world through the eyes of a dog or fish. What do these creatures really see? I'd recommend ending the trip with a visit to the Mood Room, which explores the influence of colour on the way we feel. Here, you can lie back and listen to music as a projector subtly alters the lighting in the room, and with it, the atmosphere. How does it affect your emotions? You'll be surprised. Now, while the exhibition's been running, the organisers have carried out a study of the favourite colours of their younger visitors. Over 2,600 children have responded to this, and there were lots and lots of colours to choose from, so the scores weren't high for each individual colour, even if the colours were, like blue, of average popularity. Clearly, the bold colours were the winners. Though purple, which I would have expected to be a high scorer, had just 1.73% of the votes, unlike deep pink, which came next to top. In the middle ground, along with purple, which was still pretty popular compared to others, was lime green, the first shade of green to be anywhere near the top. One 2-year-old commented that red was the only colour she knew, which is perhaps why that was more popular with children than anything else. Needless to say, all the tans and beiges came near the bottom. In fact, the lighter the colours, the less popular they were, even the light pinks. So, why did the kids go for these striking colours? As adults, it's all about clothes, what we think suits us or is fashionable. But these youngsters are looking outward more, and they go for colours that hit them, that they pick out over and above the rest. It's less to do with how they feel, whether it calms them down or whatever, and more about immediate impact. And of course, there are associations with football that led a lot of both boys and girls to go for particular colours. In fact, more children seem to comment on this than anything else, whereas adults would be more likely to go for something worn by someone they really like. So, all in all, it says a lot about...
Good morning, guys. Come on in.
Thanks, Steve. It's good of you to spare us some of your time.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
That's okay. So you're studying sports science, are you?
Yeah, we've only just started our course, actually, but as I explained on the phone, we have this seminar to do on sports injuries, and we thought who better to than someone like yourself?
Fine, okay. So what would you like to know?
Well, we thought we'd start by asking you about some of the treatments and services you offer here at the clinic.
Okay, well, as you know, physiotherapists deal with a whole range of different problem areas in the body.
Yeah, what sort of techniques do you use to help people? I mean, I know you use massage, and I understand that's a key form of treatment.
Yeah, well, we call it manual therapy, you know, because it's a hands-on treatment and it just involves manipulating the soft tissue around a joint to relieve stiffness and pain.
Is that something that a lot of people come here for?
Well, we generally decide what's best for the individual. This treatment can hurt sometimes, but it gets results more quickly than anything else.
And is that true whatever the injury?
For sports injuries, generally yes, but it doesn't stop there. You have to do other things as well.
I've heard of something called stability training. Do you do that?
Definitely. This is something that's designed to improve overall posture and body shape.
So it's for the back and neck?
I think I've heard of this. It works on everything and gives you more power.
Yeah, this is important. We improve your overall form, and that's quite good if you're tired or a bit weak.
Do you use to boost performance?
Occasionally we recommend a pad or block for a sports shoe, but not often.
What about electrical equipment?
We do sometimes use electrotherapy, which is supposed to stimulate the body to repair itself.
So that's actually using a small electrical charge?
Yes, but there's growing evidence that the effect is limited.
So I guess you don't use it much?
No, we tend to avoid it most of the time.
I see. What if people don't have an injury but just want to get better at their sport? I mean, sometimes people know they do something wrong when they swing a golf club, for example.
Then we film them and show them exactly what they do. It's called video analysis.
That must be really helpful.
It's what everyone asks for. It outstrips all our other services because it's great for so many activities, not just sporting ones.
Can you help people with sedentary activities?
Absolutely. We offer workstation analysis because so many people have asked us for it.
Yeah, I spend hours on my laptop and as the day goes on, my posture gets worse and worse.
That's why we tend to suggest that people come at the end of the day for this.
I guess the problem is that everyone's built differently. I think we both need some help there.
That was really interesting. So what happens when someone comes to your clinic?
Well, let's imagine you're the patient.
Okay.
A common situation will be that you sustained an injury, say a year ago, so it's not new. So you turn up with what we call an existing injury.
Right. Like I sprained my ankle.
Exactly. That's a typical one.
Okay, and I've been to the doctor, and he sent me to the hospital for an x-ray, and then I've been prescribed a cream or even painkillers.
You've been through that medical route.
Okay, and I had to rest it for a while, of course, and that meant not doing any sport. So I've come to you because I'm fed up, basically.
Yes, you need to get the joint moving again. So what we would do first is to assess the damage to the joint area.
I guess there's a whole range of problems that it could be, and some are more serious than others.
And we can't afford to make mistakes. Now, once we know what the problem is, we select a treatment. Perhaps one that we talked about earlier. Plus, we design an exercise plan for you.
That's great if you stick to it.
Yes, that's the hard part for patients because they don't have time or they get bored. So we ask them to come back regularly, make appointments, and we monitor the movement in the joint each time.
And you expect that to work?
Yes, and it usually does, quite quickly, in fact. And then we can go on to rehabilitation.
You mean getting them back into the sporting activity they used to do?
That's right. We have a fully equipped gym and we devise a training plan. Well, a personal trainer does that, and they oversee the program for at least a couple of months and make sure the patient carries it out.
It sounds really thorough. That's great, Steve, thanks.
We're going to have a look today at Aboriginal art and painting, which actually dates back 60,000 years, making it one of the oldest art traditions in the world. Now, as long as Indigenous people have been living in Australia, they've been creating different types of art. So, let's start by having a look at some examples of ancient art. It includes things like, as you can see here, rock paintings, bark paintings. Even some sand drawings like this have been found. Then there's the whole area of body art, which is so important for ceremonial practice. And lastly, here are some examples of decorative art on weapons and tools. The oldest art examples today are the rock paintings because, obviously, rock is more durable than other materials, and so the art has been preserved. In fact, most of this work is inside caves, largely because there it hasn't been destroyed by the weather, while the paintings on outside rock surfaces have often been washed away over the years. Now, there are enormous variations in the style of Aboriginal rock art, depending on its age and location. Dot paintings are one of the best-known visual art forms of Aboriginal culture, in which a surface is covered in small dots to reveal symbols. Typical ones include arrows like this. Here's a water hole, and these are animal tracks. You get to see both the abstract dot paintings and more naturalistic art. You get both in rock art of various ages. As the ancient Aborigines didn't have a written language, the key purpose of much of this rock art was storytelling, which has had a great significance for younger generations. Let's move on to look at the materials. Whatever they were painting, traditionally Aboriginal people all over Australia used pigment, such as ochre, to make paint. Ochre's very finely textured natural rock, and, they used this because ochre is plentiful across most of Australia. It's coloured by iron oxide, which is the mineral that makes a lot of Australian outback soil, in places such as Ayers Rock, what is known as Uluru Red. Uluru being the Aboriginal name for Ayers Rock. However, depending on the exact conditions under which it formed, the shade can be anything from yellow to orange, red, purple or dark brown. Today, ochre occurs in many archaeological sites, and archaeologists at one site have discovered what appears to be an artist's palette of ochres dating back 18,000 years. Preparing the ochre paints was time-consuming work. First, the appropriate rocks had to be found and collected. Then the rock had to be broken up and ground into a powder, and that had to be mixed with some sort of fluid to bind it into paint. Nowadays, the binder most commonly used is professional art acrylic binder. But in the past, Aboriginal people used things like tree sap or something similar like bush honey. Other fluids must also have been used, but wouldn't have held paint on rock or a piece of bark for thousands of years, so sadly those paintings would have been lost. So, how have things changed? Well, modern Aboriginal is a mixture of the old and the new. Things changed in the 1970s, really, when Aboriginal people from many different parts of Australia, particularly South Australia, Central and Northern Australia, acrylic painting and began to paint on canvas. Taking a modern approach has had many advantages. It saves artists a great deal of time, and they can still choose to use the traditional yellowish, reddish, brownish colours if they wish to. But perhaps the most important fact is that, unlike bark and rock paintings, the modern paintings are easy to sell. In fact, painting on canvas has given Aboriginal people an opportunity to showcase their art to the world and keep their ancient culture alive. Modern Aboriginal art, particularly dot painting, has taken off and started selling on a big scale internationally. Aboriginal art can also be found on pottery and various musical instruments like didgeridoos and clapping sticks. Together, these have become some of the most popular souvenirs in Australia. Their artists, like other artists in the world, are now able to earn a living doing something they are passionate about.